A nurse wakes up at 5 a.m. A teacher drives to work in traffic. A delivery rider races through the rain. At the end of the month, all of them lose a piece of every paycheck. Tax. Automatically. Instantly. No escape. But somewhere else, a billionaire wakes up in a mansion worth more than an entire neighborhood, and legally pays less tax than the people cleaning his office. How is that possible? Is the system broken, or was it built this way from the beginning? Most people think taxes are simple. You work, you earn money, the government takes a percentage. Fair enough. But that only applies if your money comes from a paycheck. Billionaires do not live on paychecks. That is the first secret. Workers can pay 20 to 35% in taxes. Some billionaires pay less than 5%, sometimes even less than 1%, because the system treats salary and wealth differently, and that difference changes everything. Most billionaires pay themselves tiny salaries, maybe $1 a year, because salary is taxed. Instead, they keep their money in stock. If the stock rises, they become richer, but if they do not sell it, they pay nothing. That is called an unrealized gain, like a house rising in value. You got richer, but you owe no tax yet. Billionaires do the same thing, just on a much bigger scale. Then comes the second trick. Buy, borrow, die. First, they buy assets, stocks, real estate, companies. Then those assets rise in value, but they never sell. Instead, they borrow against it. Banks gladly lend them millions, and loans are not taxable, so they live on borrowed money. Private jets, mansions, yachts, all funded by loans. Then comes the final step. Die. The assets pass to their children, and the tax bill disappears. 40 years of gains, gone, like the profit never existed. Then there are offshore tax havens, tiny islands with almost no taxes. Sometimes the office is nothing more than a mailbox, but on paper, billions move there. The money never really leaves. Then everything changed. The leaks began. Secret files, hidden accounts. The world finally saw the system. Workers followed one set of rules, the rich followed another, and both were completely legal. Then came the financial crisis. Millions lost homes, millions lost jobs. Governments said there was no money for schools, no money for hospitals. But there was always money for loopholes, always money for bailouts. The system was not broken, it was tilted. The people with the most money shaped the rules. Lobbyists pushed for lower taxes, campaign donations bought influence. Complex laws protected the wealthy, and ordinary people paid the price. At first, nothing seems wrong. The roads still work, the lights stay on. But slowly, the cracks appear. Schools get worse, hospitals become crowded, housing becomes expensive. Governments still need money, so they borrow, and often they borrow from the rich. The public pays interest back to them. The poor pay with taxes, the middle class pays with inflation, and the rich get richer. That's why inequality explodes. Younger generations feel trapped. They studied harder than ever before, worked longer hours, and followed every rule they were told. Go to school, get a job, save money. But the math no longer works. Rent rises faster than salaries. Homes cost more than entire lifetimes of savings. A generation that did everything right now feels like it can never catch up. Meanwhile, billionaires grow richer while they sleep, because money now grows faster than work. If you own assets, you win. If you only earn a paycheck, you fall behind. The system rewards ownership, not effort, not sacrifice, and not the people holding society together. Teachers, nurses, drivers, workers, the people paying more tax than billionaires. And when people realize that, they stop believing the system is fair. Because fairness is not just about money, it's what keeps society together. When workers pay more than billionaires, the rules stop feeling like rules. They start feeling like protection. Protection for the people already at the top. That's when anger begins to spread. Not because people hate success, but because they hate a game they can never win. So ordinary people begin asking questions. Why do I pay taxes before I even see my paycheck, while billionaires can hide behind lawyers and loopholes? Why is work taxed more than wealth? Why does a nurse pay more than a billionaire? Why does a teacher lose more than a hedge fund manager? Why do we call it success when the game was designed by the winners? Some people defend the system. They say billionaires create jobs. They say lower taxes help the economy grow. And sometimes that's true. But there's a difference between rewarding success and protecting loopholes, because one creates opportunity, the other protects power. And eventually, people stop trusting the people in charge. They stop believing the game is fair. And when people stop believing the game is fair, everything changes. The biggest myth is that billionaires simply work harder. Workers are taxed on income. Billionaires are protected by wealth. Those are not the same thing. Most of these loopholes are completely legal, written directly into the rules. So maybe the real question is not, why do billionaires pay less tax than you? Maybe the real question is, why do we allow it? If you want more truth about money, power, and the system behind it, subscribe now. Because the more you understand the game, the harder it becomes for them to keep rigging it.